The Scale Startup India 2015 Goa edition was held at the beautiful Leela Hotel by Scale Advisory on 7th and 8th of October 2015. This competitive plus collaborative event was part of Scale's continuing mission to empower India's most aspirational startups by helping them engage with entrepreneurs, investors and CXOs from across industries and geographies.
I want to encourage investors in India to invest into their young generation, into their talents. And by doing this on an international scale, by inviting people, as we've seen in this conference, from China, from Kazakhstan, from Europe, from the States, I think we have a very global setting here of investors and startup entrepreneurs. And to bring those together and to actually build the next generation of global companies. This is what we should do, and I'm very happy to be part of that and to help with that.
There are investors here, there are CXOs here, there's media here. So I think these entrepreneurs should get the resources if they get funded, if they get commitments, and we will see in the second day at the end what kind of, we'll try to get the sense of this benchmark, if we can achieve. If people get funded or get some commitment, that will be the great achievement. Even one company gets funded, we'll be really happy.
The entire objective is to actually meet entrepreneurs, understand what innovative ideas are coming up. Also at the same time, we would love to meet up a lot of entrepreneurs and help them in their startup initiative. We would want to help them understand, how the entire ecosystem is currently developing and co-partner with them, handhold them and take them to the next level.
It is one of the very interesting mixture where investors from India as well as investors from across the world come in. So this brings in 2 points. One, you get a lot of exposure to investors from outside. So to grow our business globally, you get a lot of inputs on that one. And the second one is the speed with which this team moves is very high when compared to other investment teams. So that also helps startups in scaling faster.
It's very important to find validation. This is a product that we first launched in India, made and designed in California. So we need to bring some validation to our investors here and elsewhere, basically connect the two places by creating a bridge. So that's what I'm trying to do today, creating a bridge between the two nations.
Scale Startup India 2015 brought together the best minds from India and the global startup ecosystems to co-develop a culture of collaboration and value building. Kickstarting the event were keynote addresses by Kaushal Choksi, Chairman of Scale Group, and Paulo Andres, President of European Trade Association for Business Angels.
I feel that, we live in one of the best times in the mankind's history. We are living longer, we are living better, we have a lot more disposable income as we see in the world. And India does its traditional role of adding almost one Australia every year as consumers. So I think we are growing in a much better direction. Second, I'm excited about is that where India is right now. We are at the crossroad here as a startup nation 100 times. What was Israel? I think India can do 100 or 1,000 times as a startup nation. And the third is we selected Goa. And I think, how do you feel, everybody? Isn't it a cool place here? Yeah, it's fantastic, I love this place, If you think about, Goa, so it's about yesterday, somebody asked me what is the population, I looked it up. The population of Goa is about 1.8 million people. And we have a friend here from Estonia, is at about 1.2 million people. Estonia's GDP is about $26 billion. Goa's GDP is about $3 billion. You can see that, what is potential here. And Goa's GDP is one of the highest, it is the highest per capita in the country because of the mining and the tourism. So if you think about, Goa where it is, I think, if I was an entrepreneur, I would love to come here and start my business. This is the place, which can be creative. It can have its own character. So we thought that, if we do it in Goa, it's not only a cool place, but also it can be a location similar to California, similar to in Israel, and you can have that spark here. So the potential is tremendous for this place to become an innovation hotspot. So it's a cool place, but it can be a hotspot for innovation.
The Indian entrepreneurs are really amazing. You work very, very hard. You work more than any other people in the planet. And I don't know, I hope that during these 2 days I will learn the secret in order that I can compete with other entrepreneurs from India as well in some of the companies. But the point is, if you think not just about India, because you are a big country, but you think globally, you'll be better prepared. One of the mistakes I see a lot of entrepreneurs in big countries is they just think about that country. But then the competition is approaching several countries, and then the competition grows faster. So don't think about just India, because you are a huge country, but think about globally. Think about going to other countries as well. The entrepreneur should put skin in the game, should show that he's committed to the project and that the risk is not 100% on the investor side. Another problem I see on the entrepreneurs is about valuation of the project. Can you believe that if you double the projections, then you double your valuation? So just go on, just double. It's better for you. In this room, please raise the hand if you know any project 5 years ago that was introduced to investors 5 years ago, and that happened exactly how the entrepreneur thought about it in terms of revenues, profits. Do you know any project? Entrepreneurs do projections. Based on these projections, there is valuation. But then entrepreneurs forget, and they cut in the middle, that if these projections do not happen, then the valuation should be different. So if you put something like if this happens, then the valuation is this. If this happens, then the projection is that. Then you reduce the risk for investors, and then you are not just a speculator.
The keynote speeches were immediately followed by 3 parallel pitching sessions. These were the first stage of the startup competition, where a panel of judges identified the most promising startups in each session.
We are looking for talented people all over the world. It doesn't matter this is people from Ukraine, Russia, Kazakhstan, or from India, because talented people, it's talented people. And I see here a lot of great, smart guys, a lot of interesting ideas. And I think if we will work as a Happy Farm Business Accelerator with this team, with our amazing mentors, with our fantastic board directors, give them our experience, our knowledges, it will be very good and we will have good result.
The key differentiator of our startup is the fact that we focus on the people, the ones who wear as well as the ones who make our fashion, and we use their stories and inspiration to design our collection. So that's our creative input, as well as we get them to share our product. So it's kind of a self-propagating marketing strategy.
I'm hoping we're able to find many companies who would impress us. We had a pitch in the morning, about 11 companies pitched to us. We liked 2 or 3 of them are definitely very interesting, and yeah, we're hoping you should go back with good numbers, and the quality of the entrepreneurs are good. I think that's important. These guys know what they're doing.
This is great. One is we meet other entrepreneurs like us. We know what's happening in the marketplace, and we also get to meet a whole lot of investors. So when we are looking for money, at least we know what is it that we are looking for and whom we should be going to. And there's a lot of very useful information that we get through talks, and where people with experience are sharing their experience with us.
India as an entrepreneurial culture is taking off quickly, but there's a lot to go, a lot to do, a lot of attitudes to change, and I think that these kind of events inspire people. They're like, okay, come on, I can do it, which is what everybody needs the confidence to do.
Post the elevator pitches, it was time for some parallel knowledge sessions. One of these was titled Introduction to Angel Investing, an interactive session conducted by experienced angel investors. The aim of the session was to advise new angels on how to take the plunge into angel investing by providing them with the right kind of mentorship. This mentorship covered topics such as understanding the sectors to invest in, risk appetite, returns horizon, evaluating investment opportunities, identifying winners, international exits, etc.
Risk mitigating is really very important, and entrepreneurs takes 80% of the time trying to raise money from investors and 20% of the time reducing the risk of the companies. And it should be absolutely the opposite. 80% of the time mitigating the risks of the company and 20% time raising money. Entrepreneurs think the problem is that there is no money in the market. There is more money available in the market to invest in startups than projects to be invested. The problem is that 95% of the projects have too much risk. If 95% of the projects have too much risk, they need to reduce the risk.
The second parallel session was titled Series A to Z, a forum for entrepreneurs seeking to understand the multiple facets of launching and raising growth capital. This session discussed various themes relating to perspectives of an investor and the importance of scientific valuation, amongst other topics.
I'm kind of here trying to talk about how entrepreneurs or founders could build exit opportunities and what should they kind of be doing towards getting there. Right now, you're kind of seeing a lot of blurring of lines between public and private investments, large sums of money which are waiting to get deployed. Liquidity is driving a lot of valuation. So what are the core things or key things that they should keep in mind while trying to decide the next leap for themselves, whether in terms of a strategic tie-up, or a strategic exit, or a PE exit, or a IPO, and what are the key things to take care of or kind of focus on, because there's always that much that you can do, and therefore what are the key themes that you should perhaps focus on, or the niche spaces that you should find yourself, so as to be able to make the best valuation.
So the first point that I wanted every entrepreneur to remember was that they research the investor that they want to approach and not simply blindly reach out to every investor that is there out there, because that way they can find the right value-added partner for them to grow their business. It's not simply about the money. It's a lot more about the value that the investor can bring. So that was the first point. The second point was that investment at any stage, the biggest aspect of the startup that the investor looks for is the team. So I want them to remember that when they are bringing together people, they actually think through what is the value that each of those people are bringing to the table and build consciously a very strong senior team.
Every single table is going to take one.
The third parallel session was titled Startup to Startup, where experts laid bare the critical dichotomies facing new age startups, decisions that have great impact on their fledgling business, such as compete or coexist, grow or exit, etc.
One of the things and the topics that we talked today with our panelists was coexisting versus competing. So the dilemma that companies go through. And I would say that one takeaway that I would take out of all the things that the panelists said was that if you're a company, you should go to a market where you can be one of the top 5 in that market. Although there's a lot of competition, crowded market, you have to have the right conditions and, very important, the right differentiator. And I think that that's one of the bigger takeaways that I would get from today.
There are a lot of indigenous technology which is developed out of India. Probably it's not getting traction because obviously the angel investors have got little appreciation of the risk or what's involved at very early stage. So given that we have got a bit more deeper pockets, we are coming in here to look at what are early stage ventures and how we can help them develop the technology as well as take them into regional markets. And that's my value proposition to the startup community here.
It was then time for the final 3 sessions of day 1. Again, they were held in parallel, starting with Strategic Rendezvous, a conversation with growth stage entrepreneurs looking to go global through capital, sales, and talent. This session's objective was to enable entrepreneurs to become micro multinationals and have a global outlook right from the very start.
My takeaway to all the startups as well as investors is focus, right? So if the startup is focused and clear with their objectives and their business model, that's the best thing. And they should bring more clarity into the thought of their business model.
The second parallel session was titled Investing in Cross-Border Opportunities and was devoted to educating domestic investors interested in the dynamics of cross-border investing and the risks it comes with. This session covered a wide range of topics on the issue, such as evaluating cross-border opportunities, remote managing investments using technology, regulatory issues, taxation mechanics, exit scenarios, etc. The third parallel session of the evening was another startup-to-startup session titled Bridging the Valleys. Eminent experts from across India and the US elucidated on ways the two ecosystems could collaborate, co-create and co-develop new-age products and services.
As a startup entrepreneur, you have to know that you are not an investor, you are a seller. Investor is a buyer. You have to know the buyer's principle and their ideology of thinking and doing things. Do not make too high expectation. Then otherwise you will be disappointed. The most important thing for financing is to get the money at the right time, right amount, from the right person.
Of course, we're here to find partners, and thanks to Kashal Chokshi, who invited us to this Startup India Rocks, and we're very much excited. And we know that so many people in IT community, worldwide IT community, they have their origin from India. It's like the CEOs, I'm sorry, I don't remember the names, but like CEO of Microsoft nowadays, of SanDisk, and all these people, people in Google, yeah, they all come from India. And of course, India, usually when you think about India, it's good food, but also good IT engineers. So we're very much excited to be here.
Day one of Scale Startup India 2015 was a resounding success in terms of the knowledge quotient and participation. The final day saw the culmination of the startup competition among other activities. Keep watching ETNOW. Day 2 of the summit started with product and business launch, specially crafted parallel sessions for recently funded companies to launch their products or services in front of the startup media and general audience. Meanwhile, in another session called Strategic Insights, panelists were discussing the role of accelerators in catalyzing startups. This was followed by a session on media and startups, and finally, a PEI and CTA launchpad that was chaired by Martha Emerson and Srimoy Sanyal.
I have seen some of the startups. Of course, they need mentorship and also they need kinds of advice from lots of people. Not only we will help them, but also we will bring some of the startups from Turkey, because India is a huge market, which we may have a collaboration and they may have a great market opportunity here. So building bridges between bridges creates a longer term valuation. But I mean, it is very important, these kinds of conferences does it.
So what I mostly talked about was, the importance India has for Canada. Like, the Canadian government is very committed to working on the Canada-India bilateral relationship. Within that, our government is committed to innovation. So not only do we work with Canadian startups and help them, grow and scale in the Indian market, we also have a very unique program to help Indian startups grow and scale and, enter the market in Canada. So that was basically what my presentation was all about, including this very unique program called the Startup Visa.
One of the penultimate sessions of the day was CXO Investor Interaction. where CXOs engaged in a discussion with investors and jointly explored synergies to co-invest in ventures and build roadmaps towards exits by having the right business models in place.
So I think the main thing is our recommendation to startups to focus on building good products that people love and use and don't focus on exits. Do not build companies and look for a way to exit, but look in a way to bring value, create a product that has an immense attractiveness for users, and everything else will follow. Focus on building great companies.
Our belief is that innovations can come from anywhere in the world and can impact our clients anywhere in the world. Of course, it's not that easy, and of course we have to be much more familiar with each of these ecosystems, and frankly the ecosystems have to be more familiar with us as well. The VCs, the accelerators, and the founders and entrepreneurs themselves. And so it's important for us to be present in the right type of forums. And this particular forum that Scale is putting together, it's the first of its kind in terms of bringing the global picture together, is a very kind of good place for us to kind of get not only the view about the Indian entrepreneur and the Indian angel investors, but also seeing where these emerging countries and how they view the growing ecosystems.
The two-day event saw over 100 entrepreneurs participating, of which finally 17 were chosen to be part of the grand finale, where they squared off against one another to be crowned the best of the best. The eminent panel judging these companies was a veritable who's who of the global startup ecosystem, and they finally chose the 3 winners of Scale Startup India 2015.
And we actually have a winner from outside India, believe it or not. Woman Leela.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm so excited. I thank to Scale and to Indian Rocks to give me this opportunity. It was 26-hour flight to come here to participate, and I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to have won. A woman has won. This is to all my women around the world that I'm trying to fight and to get to another position or be entrepreneur, and I feel so happy. Really, it's a great opportunity, and well, thanks the organization and also the investor that has voted to me.
It's always nice to finish in top 3, and it's a really nice event. I think it's good to have a gathering of international startups and investors here, and I really like that it's here on Goa, and hopefully it's just the starting of future conferences to come.
We got the 3rd position in this competition, and actually it was an awesome experience. To begin with, right from day one we had quite a few good sessions. The pitch experience in itself was quite good. We had 2 rounds of pitches here. So in the first round we got quite a good feedback from the panel there, which was in fact useful for me to pitch on the second day as well. In addition, we actually got to meet a lot of awesome people here.
With over 20 countries, 70 investors and 100 entrepreneurs participating in the event, Scale Startup India 2015 achieved a global scale that few startup events do. The open collaboration of ideas and synergies across borders that the summit achieved was the key ingredient of its grand success.